Yo, what's happening? It's Mike Mines here, 5Ps of Me podcast production. Just want to welcome everybody to another exciting episode. Um, uh, got some subject matter today that might be sensitive to some ears and maybe, you know, nothing to somebody else's. However, I had the privilege of being in Indianapolis this past weekend celebrating significant other's birthday. Um, However, man, on the 4th of July, actually, it was the day we made it there, and I had the privilege of conversating with some of the locals there. Met this young gentleman, I guess you might call him a valet driver for the hotel in which we stayed. He was discussing, the cities, how he was from Chicago, and you know, how he moved up there to Indy. Uh, guess we got to talking about relations and as far as how the downtown area uh, had significantly changed over the years. However, we got on the subject matter of I guess youth crime and violence that was taking place there in Indianapolis, and he used the term YN. Of course, we all know what YN means, and how that they had really pretty much taken over the city, uh, pretty much with their, I guess, approach, commandeering type stuff. Just like expressing how they had, I guess, been shooting and then killing individuals that were frequenting the downtown area. Last thing on his mouth was, "Be safe, man. Be careful." So I went to thinking about our city, Toledo, how young people have been, somewhat rampaged due to whatever the circumstances you might call. But I was actually comparing the two and came to the conclusion that this is not just an isolated incident by far in either city. It's become global in the nation. Had a segment which I discussed um, the Reagan administration and their means for uh, locking up the black men in the 90s due to savagery. Back then, they were labeled beasts in the 90s. It was drug selling, it was violence, period. But speaking on the YN connotation, the it's kind of revisiting that same era. It's a term that's being sensationalized in the news, in media, newspapers, even amongst our community, and you know with it is a term that you know the uh, communities are embracing. You know the fact that this needs to be in a sense handled. It's causing people to not want to come from beyond the comfort zone. And I read in this book entitled Crime, Criminology, and Criminal Justice, the same thing. People were, I don't know whether it was a scheme to get the public to vote for Reagan and his administration back then, but using this YN term, producing sort of a fear, amongst community members and whatnot. And discussing with a brother just a few days ago, and we were trying to figure out, some type of way to counteract these these behaviors and mannerisms that's put forth by young people. I came to the conclusion that is leading by example is pretty much how they want. They're not even meeting them on their plane. It's, it seems like no wasted effort anymore. You know what I mean? But there is a solution. You know, it's yet to be figured out. There was I guess I might want to say there was an idea of our black communities policing itself, taking on responsibility and accountability to neighborhoods, community members, and by policing or becoming accountable to one another. You are pretty much not dictating, you ensuring safety, ensuring health, ensuring a good relationships, and to curb these behaviors that's being put forth. You know, now could that be the answer? I don't know. Maybe it can be explored. Taken seriously on a much more political level. But we also know that even when we did attempt back in the '60s and '70s with the Panther Party, they did a lot of policing in their own communities. But again, once the government began to see the uh, empowered organization moving forward and becoming much stronger, it was, there was a plot to disrupt that. So can we revisit being, using the police in our own communities? Uh, uh, can we use that and make it effective? To explore that and actually go forth and making it happen. Kind of brings up old negative connotations, connotation. You know what I mean? Meaning you don't want to go and put that back on a plate only to experience, have history repeat itself. So, man, I don't know, man. Uh, I believe in preparing myself, for, you know, being better in my community, preparing myself for being better to self, preparing myself to being, you know, a leader by example, to those who, have come to a realization that, where we are headed, you know, and we're headed for destruction if we don't straighten up, So, um, I don't know. I just trying to gather, you know, what can we do to properly prepare, us and our communities for, this uprising. I don't condone, but I'm not also gonna not going to ridicule it either. You know what I mean? Because, like you said, there has to be a solution, a workable solution that you know can help bond and restructure some of these young men and women that's embracing this character. You know, first and foremost, I got to say, again, retribution. You see that penitentiaries or jails and institutions uh, seemingly only worsening individuals. It's almost like a college of criminality. You know what I mean? My mindset, so to speak. And if we sit up there and place them on probation or whatnot, keeping a chain, to me, only seems to only worsen the situation, especially those who have been hardened mentally. No, no, you know, in spite of what they've learned, what they've internalized to be, a lifestyle. So, I mean, I got to say, it's a tough uphill battle, man. It's, we as a people have to deal with it some kind of way rather than shutting our door to it or saying, well, it ain't got nothing to do with me. Well, yes, it does. If you live in these communities, if you're black, if you're underprivileged or underserved, yeah, it has something to do with you because these are some of the same things that they deal with, rejection, resistance, um, being denounced, an outcast, so to speak. You know, um, I don't know, man. I wish this could have been live because I could have surely taken some dialogue or comments, be it controversial or proactive. You need to stimulate some communication that may, you know, produce some type of remedy or solution, suggestion. We got these again. We have these law enforcement, these activists that the mayor has produced, to curb some of this, community violence, some of this citywide uprising. You know what I mean? But in essence, man, it seems that it only works for a small amount of time. Next thing you know, we're back at it. Last year alone, if you remember, on July 4th, it's like 8 murders. I don't know whether you can blame that on the young people or that was just random or whatever the case, man. Our nation, we're in a so-called violent epidemic, seemingly affecting black communities. You know, I, I gave some thought policing our communities, only to remember, what happened back in the '60s and '70s. Now it may be offered again under a more subtle approach. Wow, that would take a lot of, you say, and when we say policing our community, man, you know, there was dialogue, more dialogue, or shall I say rhetoric that was mentioned, you know, uh, taking some of the moldable younger men, younger women, have putting them, in a position to stimulate their minds to go to school, be a lawyer, go to school to be a doctor, go to school to be a judge, go to school, you know, uh, and don't get this wrong, it's wrong way, but security measures, ones in which we can secure our own communities, man, without having an outside influence of, those who uh, believe that that they're, greater than one another. So that's what police, when, our young people or up and coming individuals in position to, you know, co- you know, uh, lead, you know what I mean, and to protect, rather than, you know, having someone else do it for us. Again, man, you catch me talking, and you say, "Well, bruh, ain't you the same so and so? Ain't you the same dude that done this or done that? Or ain't you the same, you know, cat that blah blah blah?" I am, you know what I mean? I'm still, struggling with self, getting in the way of self, battling with self. You know what I mean? Yeah, I am. But the mentality, a change mentality is taking place. And I'm trying, with all my effort and action to be better, do better. So I can't stress enough more me how, you politics alone, man, they can put what's that propaganda out there to promote, you know, stronger and stiffer laws, in our community to vote for so and so and such and such. But respect, seemingly, those laws predicated upon uh, keeping them chained, so to speak, on the dog. They only do so much. At the same time, they keeping you in check with that chain. Again, we can begin to stand up for ourselves. Again, like I said, old, the old ways, the street code has become softer, you know. So anything goes nowadays. What used to be not accepted is being accepted nowadays. So where is the where is the loyalty? Where is the honor? Seemingly, man, again, it's all self for self. And if you really want to dig a little deeper, man, even families that become torn apart due to grudges, due to issues that affected them, and little to be known, they choose to continue to carry this. So families break up, and uh, there is a disarray of structure. You gotta remember, man, at the same time, we got our nieces and sons, daughters, see this, and they with this type of stuff, man, becomes, well, I don't want to be behind, man. I'd rather go ahead and be on my own rather than have to deal with this family or BS. Man. So, again, we're already missing found adults or found fathers and mothers, you know what I mean, that once were the structural foundation of the family. And to sit up there and allow our children, our young men, our young women, to be raised by these streets because we continue to have a hard neck or stiff shoulder, bad, and now we want to continue to scratch our head because we won't give way, due to our belief that, I'm not about to be a part of that. I'm not about to be a part of that family. I'm cool on that, type of thing. So now we need to, again, we need to properly prepare ourselves, man, so we can quit griping, moaning, and, hold grudges, I mean? Little day by day, our young people are falling through the cracks, man. Falling through the cracks, man. To be raised by, to be raised by these courts, institutions, man. I know that, these ideologies that they internalize, man, can so, sometimes, thwart them, from even having a, a beautiful relationship, or having fruitful, healthy relationship with their family. So, with that being said, we got to still got work to do. Don't sit up and say it doesn't have to do with you. If you sit up there, again, I repeat, you sit up there and live in these neighborhoods, in these communities, man. Yes, it does. You ain't got to carry the same last name. You ain't got to carry the same name. You know, we all in this together. The sooner we can understand that and embrace that, I think the better our approach towards getting better can only happen. But until we keep on continuing to have that selfish nature, believing that it has nothing to do with me, then yeah, of course we ain't gonna this type of thing is gonna continue to happen. So I just wanted to share this. I think it's a must that we begin to do and be what we were made to be. That's impactful individuals to one another. I can't stress how important it is for us to, you know, for us to rethink some things, man, when it comes to having found community, found, structuring our families. So let's begin to, embrace what has become so scarce as unity. I believe in our community, unity has become it has become lost lost directed. So I'm not going. I just wanted to stress how we sit up here need to come to wraps with holding, you know, grudges and being more accountable to one another. It may sound redundant, but it takes only one to plant the seed. Again, where you are in life, whether you receive it or you deny it, if you receive it, it could be nurtured, grown to something healthy. But if you deny it, what I'm saying, only that seed become dormant, and there is no production. So, I'm not gonna hold you longer. I was just putting this out there for the audience, man, to embrace. Put it out there for the audience to think about it. Put it out there for the audience to recognize that there has to be a solution. I don't give up on, lead by example, or reason someone may love, but there has to be another solution which can be implemented begin a recovery for our community. Thank you. It's been 5 Easy Media Production. Mike Myers. Peace.